What's up, YouTube? How's everybody doing? Long time no stream. We're almost getting ready for next year's SHSAT. Let me make sure I'm live here because I don't want to be talking to myself. My voice is already stripped. I've been tutoring kids for the Hunter College High School exam for ever. How's everybody doing? So I've been trying to get this running for hours, and I think I finally slightly metabolized. My voice is already stripped. I've been tutoring kids for the Hunter College High School exam for. All right, let me end this. I got it running on my phone. I don't need to do anything more. Oh, you broke out in hives? Oh man. Well, first of all, can you guys hear me? Anybody hear me? Because I have a new microphone set up as well, so I just want to make sure everybody's having me say something. All right, so the high school results seem to have gone pretty smooth. I got a 4633. LOL, LOL, LOL. Hey, you know, although that probably makes you a candidate for a discovery, right? I don't know what the ranges are yet, but the max score is 492, and usually a 460 something can get you into a discovery offer. Again, I don't know the exact numbers. I'm gonna have to look at them. My mind is a blur right now because I've been waking up every morning at 5 or 6 and literally dropping each day. All right, so you guys can hear me good. So how did everybody work out? The actual offer process was so smooth this year. I'm blown away. I was blown away in other years, but they made it so easy and so whatever. And it only makes sense. I don't know why they didn't do it this way other years. This whole thing where it gets rolled out is pointless. All they have to do is populate everybody's thing and replace the page that you're viewing on with a new page that has a link to your file. That's all they ever had to do. So I was always curious why that was the case. I'm satisfied with the results. I got number one choice. All right. Oh, Stuyvesant. I just didn't apply to Sty? Wait, what? Wait, how did you get Sty if you didn't apply to Sty? Oh, yeah, that could be the reason why. Right. The criteria for. So you may have gotten in the range, but you have to meet the ENI index and a whole bunch of other stuff or whatever. Yeah. Um, ah. Well, that's the way it goes. Let me see. What did you post here? What school did you get into? Or hopefully you're not one of the kids who got no school. There is a small percentage of kids each year. For some definition of small, last year there was, I think, almost 5,000 students didn't get an offer, which is a lot when you're thinking out of 75,000 or something. That's an awful lot of kids, and you don't want to be the person. All right, so see a bunch of people in the lobby. Please hit the like button. Yeah. Anyway, it's been a pleasure working with you guys doing videos. Um, I got COVID in April and it knocked me out pretty well. And then I have my own students or whatever, so it became overbearing. That said, I did pump out a bunch of cover to cover reviews, so there was that. Um, and hopefully next year I'm back in sync and can pound out a whole bunch of videos like I was doing the past 2 years. I got into Cardozo. Okay, good, good, good. Yeah, I visited that with my kids in Queens, so that's reasonable, especially if you live nearby it. That's the one with what, the Da Vinci program, or am I thinking of another school? Or am I thinking of? I'm just exhausted this very second, so my mind is just I'm ready to fall asleep. So, is there anybody in the lobby who didn't get their offer yet? I know there's a few people. They're getting failures still, or they're getting black pages. Their offer letter is a black page, and there's some people getting blank pages. So Well, you can still try for Francis Lewis in 10th grade. Francis Lewis is definitely a beacon of Queens, though. That was one of the shots I wanted some of my kids to get into, but they chose other schools. Well, my one daughter got into Brooklyn Tech, and my other daughter went to a writing school in Long Island City. So, but Francis Lewis is great. We had a slight problem with that because it was so far away from us. I'm still in Queens, but the number of buses and trains, it was an awkward scenario. So hit that like button, people. Come on. I know you could do it. Let's see here. I think I have a like stamp here somewhere. Let's see here. Where is that thing? Yeah, there we go. Hit the like button. Come on. It's not going to hurt you. It helps the channel. Yes, it definitely helps me. But I help you guys. So if you like the button, you're helping yourself. And it's going to help future students and things like that as well. Waitlisted for Francis Lewis. What number? By the way, waitlists are open already. So you can add yourself to waitlists. For all practical purposes, though, they're not going to move for a few more weeks. Plus, it's going to also dwell on people who got specialized high school offers that they may reject or not. And then, of course, if you accept your high school offer, that 5,000 bunch of kids are just going to be off the slate, if you will. And they might even cancel their wait lists, which you can do as well. So anyway, most people seem to have had a pretty smooth going into this. How do I check the number? There's a report on the My Schools that has your information is, including your waitlist number. And then once it's active, you go. It'll show the number will change as the waitlist moves back and forth and so on. But it will be through My Schools. And they change My Schools every year. I'm not sure why. So it's in a different place each time and things like that. So just be careful, guys, though, because if you accidentally click accept, then that's now your current offer. So I would strongly suggest everybody just let the dust settle. Just chill out a bit for a day or two. Let the weekend pass. Talk to your family and guardians and friends and make your choices. Because once you click that button, it's going to be super hard to get it reversed. There is such scenarios where you can talk to your guidance counselor, but well, by tonight, maybe you have to refresh that tab or something, or however if you had the iPhone, scroll My Schools off so it ends the app and then reload it and might appear. It may also be that the waitlists are only appearing on My Schools through the computer, but not through the app itself. So it's there. And again, there's no rush. You have till April 5th, so there's almost a whole month to make this decision, which is pretty cool. That's pretty awesome too, I think. Again, I'm seeing people in the lobby. Nobody's hitting the like button. Don't make me beg. And of course, this is not just for SHSAT students. It's for regular high school students. It's an interesting thing. Anybody with any questions about the whole process, or things about particular schools, or whatever the case may be like that? And is there anybody here going into 10th grade? Not just the SHSAT either, but did anybody take the SHSAT 9? Because I'm always curious about that. Yeah, one thing that I kind of I don't really care for is that I don't have my own children are currently not going through the high school process, so I can't get to see in my schools. And obviously, I'm not tutoring my students anymore because the SHSAT ended months ago. So I'm actually not able to look at what a current my school's setup is. Even the button where you click to get your offer, it seems that they revised that. So kind of confusing. What's up, people? Welcome. Does anybody, whether you got into a specialized high school or not, are you considering retaking the SHSAT? Even just for fun? The way I do this too is I'm gonna. There's years I left us running, years where there's hundreds of people in here, and I go back in and out. You guys can talk among yourselves as well, obviously. And I'll just be switching tabs back and forth. I might retake if I don't like the school I'm at. Yeah, yeah. There's a kind of a funny thing with that too, which is that even if students had a so-called dreams school, I find that once they go to grade 9, they're pretty cool with it. Even some people even go into zone schools. You have to balance convenience and stuff. Remember too that New York State has certain requirements upon you guys. And, everybody has to take English. Everybody has to take social studies. Everybody has to take math. Of course, when you get into the later grades, that can change because you have AP options. And at Brooklyn Tech, there's specific English classes that are unique there. Same for Bronx Science or STAR. You have specific math classes really offered nowhere else in any other high school. So that is true. But the basic New York State requirement to get a diploma, that's the same in every school. Now, I'm not trying to say every math teacher, algebra, geometry, trig teacher are all the same, but, teachers in a specialized high school are not perfect either, although enough of them are pretty good. How do you know if a school is zoned? It'll tell you on my schools. When you query the school, it'll tell you what your zone school is. I believe it also appears on your offer letter. So if you received your zone school, I believe it tells you that. Isn't that one of the categories of things? And by the way, some students do not have a zone school. A lot of them don't have a zone school. Sounds pretty weird. But there's a substantial number of kids where there's no zone school for them. Used to be years ago, you went to your zone school. That was the only choice. And then it used to be that it was a requirement once they added all these magnet schools and all this other stuff that you didn't have to go to your zone school if you didn't want to, but you were guaranteed a spot at your zone school. That's no longer the case. Certain zone schools will guarantee you a spot, and certain ones decide not to guarantee a spot. So there's a lot of this variability with zone school. This is true of the middle school process as well. It's actually pretty confusing. So the notion of a zone school is kind of weird. All right, I'm trying to do Reddit at the same time here. So I'm going to pop back and forth between this again. You guys can talk amongst yourselves. I'm not looking at the screen this very second. I'm actually just talking to the browser. All right, another one of my students just got in. I got a SHSAT 9er who got in as well. So far, all my students got in. I don't think there's even a short-term student who didn't get in. So that's fairly awesome. Wow, all right. Oh, man, I wasn't sure because the cutoffs are so wild there. Holy moly. Totally awesome. Totally awesome. Wow. Let me see here. I'm gonna have to figure out how to Zoom all my students as well, because I normally do tutoring one-on-one. And I'm still waiting for like 10 kids to tell me what they got. I'm not sure why they're not, and I emailed them all, but this one just came in as I'm looking at this. So let's see. All right, let me go back to the tab and see if you guys are trying to talk to me. Let's see. I applied for zoned option on Francis Lewis. Do you think my waitlist number would be high if I have a good lottery number as well? Yeah, that obviously helps you. There's too many variables to really give like chance predictions. What it comes down to is like if your number is like 5,000, pretty much it's not happening. If your number is 2,000, it's still not happening. Really, if your number is 1,000, it's still not happening. And then it kind of gets like, how do we decide when your number starts getting to be like 200? Because a school is not required to have a wait list. So some schools do not have wait lists. They don't accept students on a wait list. So, and then Francis Lewis is a really highly competitive school to get into. The whole process is, I'm not talking about when you're there, it's competitive, but I'm talking about just trying to get in. So, you could be 200 and never get in because the wait list, nobody is giving up their seats. So that's what one of the problems with things like this is. One of the nice things about Francis Lewis, though, that I understand is they will let you switch the programs. So if you get in on the zoned, you might have some leverage to actually get into one of the other programs that you want to be into. So that could work in your favor, especially if you have the grades. Go in with a plan and stuff like that. I got into Beacon. Nice. That's great school too. Let me see what else I got going on here. Like I said, you guys should kind of just chill. Chill for the weekend. Don't accept or decline anything yet. You have 4 weeks to decide that. And yeah, I mean, why have a problem with it? I wish my other students would tell me if they got in or not. They're probably jumping around the room like yo-yos and delight and forgetting that I emailed them. But I'll find out tomorrow or whatever. I know that some students actually have exams tomorrow. I don't know why a school would schedule that the day after a major milestone event like this. This is the kind of day where you guys remember the rest of your life. I certainly remember when I took the SHSAT and went through the high school admissions process. It's one of those things. And should be a relaxing, nice time. Instead, some kids, I understood one kid was not even going to look at his score because he had an exam, 2 exams tomorrow, actually, not just one, but one of them was bigger, which I guess is fine. I mean, his results are the results, so looking at the result is not going to change the result, but still, it's kind of a little unfair, I suppose. Plus, it's going to be in the back of your mind. I see a bunch more people in the lobby again. Please like and subscribe. Anybody else with any questions about the process? About clicking the thing? Basically, My Schools is there. They may put additions into My Schools. I'm not quite sure. You never know. Let's see here. God, I'm gonna pop over to Reddit. Anybody who's not on our SHSAT, please join. It's a nice crew of people there. Let's see. People asking me about discovery and DMs. I'll get to that later. Let's see here. Somebody's reposting my post. I don't know why. Let's see. Anybody else? I don't know whether to leave this running or not. Let's see. Discovery. A lot of people with discovery questions. Anybody in the chat here have discovery questions? Because it just comes up an awful lot. I guess it's confusing. Let's see what other kind of questions come up. Some of your schools going to have orientations. They usually email you. They're going to get your email from the DOE, from your My Schools account. On the same note, some of them, your guidance council will give you information about it, where you're going to register. Some have, they call it Camp Sty and other things like that. A lot of schools have these orientations. You might go and take a placement test. You might just go and chill out with people. Things like that. Let's see here. And then some schools actually might give you minor summer homework. And then over the summer, they're going to give you a supply list or something or whatever. What are the other things that goes on? Yeah, and your freshman schedule, you're not gonna get until much later in the summer part. And for anybody else who's thinking of taking the SHSAT still, whether it's SHSAT 9, which is obviously going to be next fall for the traditional cycle, also the summer SHSAT, you can take if you did not take it already. So if you're an 8th grader who did not take the SHSAT and you're considering on doing so, you can still do so. It's normally in August. If you're a 9th grader, even if you're in a specialized high school, and even if you took the SHSAT last year, you can retake it for admissions into 10th grade also in the summer. But again, if you're grade 8, you can have taken it in December. And if you're grade 9, you can't have taken in December either. So it has to be the next year only you're allowed to take it. But if you didn't take it, then you can take it. I know that's a little confusing, but what else? What else? Let's see. Trying to walk and chew bubblegum here at the same time, which is hard to do sometimes. Oh, a message to this live stream just popped up. Well, congratulations to everybody. I know you guys were the middle schoolers through the pandemic. Remote learning, the whole what's going on with COVID thing, it's still a reality. I've never seen anything like this in my lifetime, and I've been around since the 1600s. So there's things like that. You know, you're all warriors, you're all champions, you're all legends. You guys definitely be proud of yourselves. And I'm proud of working with you guys, whether through the internet or through our SHSAT or through my own students, or just I got a lot of people emailing me. Definitely a pleasure. It's very rewarding to me, and hopefully you guys are, get something out of it. And just keep your integrity and your fortitude. It got you through the past few years, so that's something important. Is it possible to do one-on-one meetings? I tutor one-on-one, so yes. Email me for details. GregsTutoringNYC at gmail.com at the bottom of the screen in gray there. What kind of tutoring you're looking for? Or if it's not tutoring, what is the interest? Right, I don't normally meet people on the internet, so you would have to email me the reason why. To do a retake for SHSAT 9, yeah, I definitely do SHSAT 9 prep. I'm one of the few tutors who do. Some tutors don't do it. That's my forte. My main forte is the math and the SHSAT 9 for the most part. I also help on the other sections and on other exams as well. I tutor for the SSAT, the SAT, the PSAT, the ISEE, the TJHSST. I tutor for exams in other countries, like in New South Wales, Australia. I tutor for the Bergen County Academy exam. Also the academies at Englewood Cliffs in New Jersey as well. Tons of exams. New York State tests, some of the regions. So yeah. Yeah, definitely email me. I can send you some a blurb. And the majority of my tutoring is one-on-one. I do these days is mostly virtual. I do in person. I also do small pods. I don't do classroom kind of things, but sometimes friends or certain students from a certain class might get together. Could be 3 to 5 students. I'll do that as well. My school says high school offers are now available. Please note that you'll be able to see your exact waitlist positions shortly. Oh, okay. I thought. All right. You know what? I saw the notice, and could swear it said waitlists were turned on already, but I guess not. Okay. I'm going from the DOE website again. I don't have access to my schools. So how can we manage the one-on-one? The same as anything. Again, contact me through email, GregsTutoringNYC@gmail.com. I'll send you a blurb. We'll work out some of the logistics and details. If obviously through your guardians. I don't work directly with students. It has to be through your parents and so on, or your guardians. And then we would pick a date and stuff or whatever. Pick what times and hours that are available, and we'd meet and start going over the material. Just like any other tutoring prep. We would discuss, if you're doing the retake, we would look at what happened with the previous exam. And nothing may have happened to it. You may have gotten a great score, but you may have gotten a Brooklyn Tech and you wanted to get in STI. So we look at that and we try to figure out how to improve it, and then work forward from there. I have scoring software as well that I wrote that rips apart your practice exams. So don't throw out your practice material yet if you're considering on doing a retake. An important part of prep or studying or whatever you want to call it is finding your weaknesses and your strengths at the same time. So, and once you find those, you try to build both of them up, not just one of them. So you improve your weaknesses and you improve your strengths. Okay, I see your message. I will definitely answer it later on. Because even whether I keep this stream going right now or not, I'm basically gonna keep going till midnight. I have a whole bunch of emails from my students to answer to. They only told me they passed. I only answered half of them back, and I'm still waiting for about 10 more to tell me what their results were. Oh, thank you. No problem. I'm obviously very passionate about this, and so give me a like, hit the like button, subscribe. For sure. I donate so much of my time to this, all for free. It actually comes out of my pocket. I need to get an extra computer for it. The number of hours I dedicate to it means that I'm not doing something else. I also, it takes a lot of time to do all this. And you guys are just seeing the visible part. There's a lot of invisible parts. I get hundreds of emails where I'm helping students. Sometimes they send me a problem and they're stuck on it, things like that. So, onesie twosies like that. And sometimes somebody might do it once a week or whatever. That's all fine. I can balance that out. And then $8, it's that kind of thing. So no problem. No problem. Just send me, anybody who couldn't have done it without me, send me like $5,000 each. That's all I'm asking for. We can throw a party. Party. Hit that like button. Hit the like button. Yeah, a lot of people make claims about me. I don't know where they're coming from with those claims, but so be it. Maybe I'm wrong, but my passion should show through for you guys. Unrelenting passion. I love helping students. I went to Brooklyn Tech myself. My daughter went to Brooklyn Tech. It's part of my life. I want to continue that legacy through whole bunches of different stuff. So, all right, a third one. There you go. Hit the like button. That's all I ask. Subscribe and hit the like button. Plus, send about $5,000 to my PayPal address there. My email address at the bottom. That's all. Right? We can have fun with that. 632 is rad though, man. That's awesome. Totally awesome. Let me see here. What's my top score so far? Whoops. Must be that SHSAT 9er. What did I just say? He said he got a 608. My scores are normally higher than that. Let's see here. Yeah, 608 is my top score so far, and I'll take it. Basically, anything over 540 or something is rad. So once you hit numbers, and if you bust 600, man, you're in cloud 9. And probably you aced one of your sections, Mercury in the yes. You probably aced the math section and got, mid 50s on the English. 587, yeah, there you go. Melon Political Podcast. Wow, that sounds complicated. But that's awesome. Totally awesome. Do you have your own podcast, or you're speaking for your child, or whatever? Or you hijacked this account? Again, hit the like button, subscribe and like, and PayPal me 5,000 to the email at the bottom. Hey, the moon's aligned, the planets aligned for you. That's all you need. It doesn't have to be anything further than that. Just let the planets align and go with it. Once you understand the format of the test and understand the purpose of the test, and you did your due diligence of studying and prep, and obviously aced your classroom classes, they're looking for something particular. And if you can hit that particular thing, then you got it. A lot of you guys crank out practice problems until you drop. That's not the way to do it. I think that's a mistake, to just pound out stuff. Don't get me wrong, practice is really important part of this whole process. But if you only practice, especially on the ELA side of things, a lot of kids are like, I already read 100 passages. I don't understand how to do it, so I'm going to read 100 more. No, that's very inefficient way to kind of do that. Sharon the sheep. There you go. And you probably counted sheep when you went to bed every night too. Right, let me see what I got going on here. All right, I have too many messages that are queuing up. I'm not following the SHSAT Reddit anymore. And I have tons of messages on Facebook. And I have a bunch of emails that just packed up. I just cleared the emails. And now I have about 15 emails again. Yay. I'm a sophomore at Tech, but it's awesome to see a thriving SHSAT community. You also helped me a lot when I was prepping, especially since it was COVID, and you were the only one posting. Yeah. Hey, I got COVID myself. In fact, I had to slow down because of it. I never kind of re-got my energy back from it. And I had to reserve it for my own students at that point. But I still pounded out the SHSAT cover to cover. And, I'm pretty much okay now. So I'm going to just keep pounding out stuff based on that. I had the hardest math series that I was doing. I'm going to try to resume that, especially for the students with the upcoming New York State test coming up. And my plan was always to expand that anyway to include Regencies, and also doing the ELA equivalent to the hardest. The hardest math would be like the hardest ELA, if you will. Where basically I'm taking passages from every grade level and ripping them apart, especially poetry as well. All right, now we're getting carried away. 532. Yep, there you go. Whoop, there it is. No problem. I love helping you guys. Yeah, time flies. I kind of can't even believe, like, it was a hard decision for me to consider live streaming in the first place. And I think it's 4 years ago now that I actually did it. There was a point where I was doing multiple live streams a day for multiple hours, which is a heck of a lot. I mean, it killed me, but I mean, when you think of through COVID, is already 2019 to 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. It's already 4 years into COVID or something like that, depending on how you count. Even if you start from March 2020, which is kind of when it really hit New York City, if you will, it's still 3 years. So, yeah, time's flying. That's what I was saying before. It's really your guys' whole middle school experience is COVID, which is kind of pretty weird. Staten Island Tech with 532. Do you live in Staten Island? You're old. I was born in the 1600s. All right, we got a bunch of people back in the lobby and so on. Does anybody have any questions about what is the next step? What happens in discovery? All these kind of things like that. My general suggestion is just to chill for a couple of days. You know, savor the results you got, and just work out strategies. Don't accept or decline anything yet. You can always do that. You have 4 weeks to do that. So I don't know how old I am. I have to ask my kids how old I am. But I've been doing that for a long time because I used to ask my mother how old I was. You know what's funny? You can give me a hard math question, but don't, like, I don't know. I guess I don't care how old I am. Even I can't remember when I graduated from Brooklyn Tech. I have to ask my daughter. Almost every time. I'll even text her if it comes up. When did I graduate from Bergen Tech? And of course, I'm always 20 in spirit. Hey, you know what? I'll tell you. I would go back to Brooklyn Tech tomorrow if I could. I loved that place. It was really a wonderful place. But you can't live in the past, so that guy already accepted Staten Island because I was sure I wanted to go there. Yeah, that's the other thing too. Why you guys all call me Gregor? Just call me Greg. Give me 1 second. I just got a message. What college did you attend? I'll say that in a second. Let's see. Good morning. I am a sophomore at Brooklyn Tech. I am striving to attend Columbia in the future. Please make DUA for me. Not sure what you're asking me. Is that a public assistance or whatever? I'm sure Columbia has such a approach. Of course, Columbia is in the news lately. Columbia is very woke college. WOKE I'm talking about. So after I graduated from Brooklyn Tech, I went to what at the time was called Polytechnic Institute of Brooklyn. It's on J Street in Brooklyn. Polytechnic Institute of Brooklyn. While I was there, it converted to Polytechnic University. And recently, and by recently I mean about 10 years ago, NYU acquired it. So it's now part of NYU. I forget its formal name now, but it's something like the Polytechnic University of somebody's name, I think, of NYU. I started college as a math major and switched to computer science almost immediately. Fell in love with computer science before I even got there, which has its own interesting story. My last year in Brooklyn Tech, my last semester, I ended up in lunch period with nobody I knew, which was kind of weird. I don't know how that happened. And there was a computer class, and I was like, that sounds awesome, because I'm a geek and a nerd. I took it, and that was it. I fell in love with it. I can remember the first program I ever wrote. It was only like 5 lines long. We had to swap 2 variables, and I was like, this is wacko. I thought about it the whole way home. I solved it when I got home, and I was like, this is ingenious. Who invented this thing? That was it. I was locked onto it. How much money you make from computer science? A lot. Actually, there's a part of all this that you guys don't know about me, which is I actually had a computer company for about 30 years. And about 10 years ago, I got very, very sick and had to stop it. And although I did tutoring before that, it pretty much knocked me out for a few years. I was kind of close to bedridden, really, and reinvented myself. And part of that reinvention is just being, at this point now, full-time tutoring. But I was a software developer for years, writing programmer tools. I wrote compilers and things like that. So it's part of things you guys don't know about me. So, well, if you like it, you should do it. I kind of have a philosophical mantra, if you will, which is that only one can be the best. So if you just want to be the run-of-the-mill programmer or software developer or a system administrator or something, that's cool. But I always, as you can see with my passion with doing the tutoring with you guys and so on, I just go full tilt into everything and just learn it to the max, and then strive to be the best I can be at that. So my best story? Oh man. Things like kids blowing up toilets. That was always a good story. One of my best stories was actually taking the SHSAT. Um, I lived in Rockaway at the time. In fact, I lived in Rockaway the whole time I went to Brooklyn Tech. And my mother brought me to the Williamsburg Savings Bank building, that tall building, which used to be the tallest building in the world or something like that, or at least in Brooklyn it was for a time. And at the time, Fulton Street was still a heavily busy shopping street, and it was stores called Abraham and Strauss and so on or whatever, which are kind of like Macy's, but less so. So there were stores like that at the time. So she was going to go shopping while I took the SHSAT, and we were going to meet up at some point later on. And you have to realize there's no cell phones or pay phones or anything like that. So she tells me Brooklyn Tech's over there, right? Because again, there's no maps or whatever. And I got lost going to the exam, and the neighborhood was horrible at the time. So I was petrified I was going to get beat up. Finally, I had to ask some people where it was. And when they pointed at it, I felt like a jerk because it's this giant school with this giant antenna on top of it. So don't ask me how. I didn't know it. So I get there, finally get there, and nobody's there because I'm late. I'm half an hour late to the SHSAT. And it wasn't called that at the time. As far as I know, it had no name. So I'm trying to bang on the doors. And if you ever seen The Wizard of Oz, when Dorothy finally gets to the castle or whatever it's called of Oz, she's banging on the door, these giant bronze doors. That was me. So I'm panicking. I'm banging like crazy. And finally a teacher comes, and he's like, what's the problem? Are you a student? I'm like, I'm supposed to take the exam. And he's like, it's too late. You're late. Go home. So he slams the door on me, and I'm like, huh? So now I'm like, I'm gonna walk around the building and try to get another door. At the same time, a father comes with his son, and the father goes crazy on the door. He's bashing it. And finally a different teacher comes out, Uh, and he explains, and I'm like, me too, me too. And then the original teacher comes out, and the guy tells the other original teacher, go away, let them in. So they let us in. At this point, I'm soaking wet. I'm so nervous. I'm scared to death. They bring me into the auditorium, and it's huge. The only other auditorium as big as that is Radio City. It was gigantic. I couldn't believe an auditorium in a school could be so big. So I finally get there. He tells me, sit down. 2 minutes later, he comes back with a clipboard, and I have the exam, and I'm paging through it. I'm like, what is this? What is this? Because this is a time where you never prepped. You just sat down and took the exam at that point. So I sat down, I took the exam, but I was like, it was like reading hieroglyphics to me. I never saw questions as hard before in my life as that. So the exam is finally over. And of course, I only have 2.5. In fact, I think it was 2.5 hours was the whole exam at that point. It wasn't 3 hours. So since I got there late, I only had 2 hours to do the whole exam. So I basically panicked and freaked out, but I got through it. I actually enjoyed it. I can still vividly remember taking it. I like doing things like this, so it was fun to me. I don't remember meeting my mother. I just remember going home. So maybe I did. And then fast forwarding. So one day I was in a Catholic elementary school. So, by the way, people in the lobby, please like and subscribe. I go to a Catholic elementary school. I was a straight A student and always behaved. So one day, the principal announced, can someone come to the principal's office? So I was like, oh no, I got in trouble. Right? So, and the principal was this little tiny nun, but she was fierce. And she said, do you all know why you're here? And we were like, no, Sister Mary Aquinas, we do not know why. And then she goes to the first kid like this, what high school do you want to go to? Right? So the kid tells her, and I'm the second one. And she's like, Mister, what high school do you want to go to? Right? So I go, sister, I would love to go to Brooklyn Tech. Just like that. Like the scarecrow. I'm just jittering because I think we're in trouble still. And she goes, you're in. Right? And then she goes to the next kid, and I'm like, what do you mean I'm in? But I'm not allowed to talk back to her. I would get in trouble. So she goes to the 5 or 6 kids there who got into specialized high schools. And then she goes, get back in your class. Right? So I'm in class. My brain is just in the stratosphere. Like, did she actually say I got into Brooklyn Tech? Like, then I'm doubting myself. So it's finally 2:30 or whatever. I run home. I live like 5 blocks from the school. I ran home like a freaking cougar. I told my mother, she told me I got in. She told me I got in. And my mother's like, calm down. So my mother has to call the school up. And they were like, yes, he got in. So we're like, what does that mean? Because we didn't even know it was called the SHSAT. And they, as far as I know, we were never given my score. So to this date, I don't know my score. So then it was really confusing. And my father had to call my elementary school up the next day. And then he spent about 2 weeks trying to call Brooklyn Tech to find out, like, do they have my records? Am I a student there? And like, what do I do to show up? So after 2 weeks, he finally comes home from work and he's like, we got all the information. You're going to go there September, whatever. And I think that he said they were going to U.S. mail us something at the time. Because remember, there's no computers, there's no cell phones, nothing like that. So most of the summer goes on and they never mail anything. So he calls them back, and finally, I think they mail something, which said what day to come there. And then it was just like, bro, I'm in. Bro, like, yeah, I got this. And that's pretty much my thing. And I can still remember my first day at school at Brooklyn Tech. And just totally awesome. Totally awesome. One of the best experiences I've had in my life. And the camaraderie of the students and all this other stuff was just totally rad. Totally rad. All right, so let me see. I'm not watching the comments through my story. So that's my story. Let me just toss in some bad stuff. What's some bad stuff that happened? Uh, there was a few kids on drugs, but that's true of any school, unfortunately. Uh, there was also the day we went on strike because it was at a time where New York City was going bankrupt. So basically, the whole school marched to the City Hall, Chambers Street. In fact, the whole city did it, but a lot of Brooklyn Tech went as well. That was pretty fun. I don't really remember some other. Most of it was a really good time. So there's no bad stories really. Yeah, there's not a lot of bad stories. Most of them are good. I love the math classes. I love the science classes. I was just like a pig in mud. So let me see. Let me go back to some of these messages now. There was a fire at Tech because some kid blasted a vape inside the bathroom. Yeah, there's a lot of fires in Tech, and yes, I heard of that one. I was so scared I ran away. Well, yeah, that's something I never liked at Tech or even many the high schools, which is sometimes when there's a fire, they do not evacuate, and they kind of really should. But remember, we had classes like foundry and woodworking and metalworking, where part of what you did was, those welding masks and we talk about PEE suits. I had to wear all this garb to do the molten metals and all these kind of things like that. So part of what we had to do was work with dangerous equipment, really. Anyway, I called my mother. Finally, she picked me up. The toilet smelled good. Went into story for real. It relates a lot to my experience at Tech. LOL. Wish the day I earned my acceptance at Tech was so crazy like yours. Was totally the opposite of the day. To cry like a big fat baby. Why? It is intimidating though. That is definitely a giant school. But I never had a problem. I was basically a shy kid. And it worked out. The same, one of my daughters also went to Tech, who was very shy or reserved, and it worked out for her too as well. I think she had a great experience, especially in freshman year. Totally awesome group of kids who were in all her classes and so on. I remember that day. It was like a last week good times. Yeah, yeah. So between BLM protest or uh, you know, uh, the things that happened during COVID, um, yeah. So life never changes, if you will. Life repeats itself. So there's interesting things about that as well. Um, yeah, just this is a big fat generalism. I just love the Brooklyn Tech period. Um, uh, do you have grandchildren? No, 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 no. Remember, I'm only 20. How could I have grandchildren if I'm 20? I cried because I wanted Brock science since a little baby, but now I'm very happy with my experience at Brooklyn Tech High School. Yeah, good, great. That's great. Um, there's a funny thing about dream schools. Um, uh, I never had a dream school per se. Even for college, I didn't. I'm not somebody who thinks that you need to go to a good school just because it sounds nice and stuff like that. I do things analytically, and to me, tech was had my name on it. I was a geeky, nerdy kid who liked to tinker with things, and like I said earlier, math, puzzles, computer science, all that was just totally up my alley. And when my father was really my segue into this, when he described what Brooklyn Tech was about, I was like, that's my school. Because he also described Stuyvesant and Bronx Science to me. And at the time, that was the only three specialized high schools. And I'm like, that's the school I want to go to, Dad. And that's pretty much the approach we took on it. Um, and it was the school for me, and I was, you know, I was the student for it. So yeah, young and slender. There you go. Definitely. Well, Mythical, these days, you can define who you are. So, happy with my experience in high school. Yeah, and tech is diverse. Um, the majors always were very interesting to me. And it was actually tough for me because I wanted to be in every major. Is my father still alive? No, no. Both my parents passed away from cancer a while ago now. Maybe 20 years ago each. Oh, I couldn't tell you that. You have to meet your own destiny. Um, I mean, I knew physics majors at the time and aerospace majors at the time. I'm sure the programs have been technologically moving along. Um, I also know people who did those respective majors and switched them. So they may have taken physics and tech, and then at college they take aerospace or vice versa. Um, and it depends on stuff because it's you have to also consider your markability and so on. Um, I know a lot of kids who went to tech to do aerospace, and it was a time where NASA was losing funding and things like that, and a lot of them had to switch their careers. They never did aerospace work, even if they started a couple of years of it. Although a lot of students at tech go into defense um, companies with defense funding like Lockheed Martin and Boeing and things like that and so on. Not just commercial airlines. So I'm failing all my classes. What is your advice for that? Don't do that. It's like, doctor, doctor, my elbow hurts. Don't do that. I want to do software major. What do you think about it? Like I said earlier, I was a software major at college and I absolutely loved it. I totally fell in love with it. It was my passion. Um, and I still do coding. As what I was talking about earlier, was I got sick about 10 years ago and had to end my I had a software company writing compilers and programmer tools and stuff like that. And desperately would like to do it again. Um, my I have chronic pain. You guys don't know that either. I guess now you do. I had 24/7 pain in my head. Never goes away. And it impacts my day-to-day life. I pretend it doesn't, so that's good. Yeah, mythical. It's part of life. So yeah. Whatever you guys choose, go in with passion. Go in with gusto. Uh, it's it's you. If your name's written on it, go for it. There are a lot of people who don't know what they want to do, and that's fine as well. So, but find what you're good at and find what's marketable at the same time. And you can make various choices that don't have to work that way. Um, for argument's sake, let's say tutoring was not a good money producing thing. You can still be happy doing tutoring and always be happy. Don't and this ties into your parents as well. The whole spiel, you need to be a doctor or a lawyer kind of thing. No, you don't need to be. Do what you love. That's really where you want to go to on some of this stuff. I had a question. What are your further plans for the future? For example, for live streams, maybe future in-person tutoring or life in general. I have so many plans that I know some of them will never come to fruition in 1,000 years. Um, yes. So part of the live stream stuff is I got COVID last April, and it's basically impacted my whole year. Just because when I finally got well a few months later, I had a tutor for kids for the SHSAT. Currently, I have a whole packed thing. Today, I cleaned my slate, but I have a packed house for Hunter College High School students right now. That exam is till April, and then after that, I'm going to switch into helping kids with the New York State exam, and then some kids for the regions. So I have to get myself all back into it. So yes, I will continue the live streams, even if it's just sporadically. I will certainly do it. I definitely enjoy it. Even some of the trolls can get interesting at times. Um, In-person tutoring, yes, I'm going to do in-person tutoring. I have a whole bunch of ideas of how to expand that. I'm not going to talk about that here because if I don't expand it, I don't want to mislead people. I also don't want to screw up my own brain by thinking I'm going to do something. Let me say this, I'm collaborating with other tutors. That doesn't mean it needs to be like we're forming another company, but as my life approaches in layers, that's an interesting life in general. I have a whole bunch of ideas. I'm not going to go into those. That's too philosophical and too other things. But let's just say, again, I have a passion for what I'm doing. I love when I'm doing it, and it's rewarding helping people. So a lot of my life is volunteerism. In fact, that might be part of what I do. I might actually stop paid tutoring completely and just switch into non-paid tutoring completely. Just helping people for free. That's really something I would love to do. I just don't know if I could do it. Let's see. To be honest, I don't have a passion for anything but really outcome. I do anything except medical. Since software has the most money, I'm choosing that. That's one reason to do something mythical. You can also find, because software is so vast, you could write business software, you could write mathematical software, you could write, which is the niche I picked, systems programming. You could do graphic software. You could do software for small devices, like writing OS X or something like that. Or you could write software that works on a toaster, a talking refrigerator. You could write software for medical devices, since you're mentioning that. There's so many niches to be it. You could also do software as an analyst, where you don't necessarily write code. You could also become an expert debugger. Certain people may not write code, but they can find bugs in software easy. You can write test suites. The sky is just the limit here on the things you can do. You can write educational software, games, everything. So that the niche of software is just vast. So within that might be some ideas we could do other things as well. Yeah, I agree, Easy Cutie Chicken. Um, Tyler Tutor Collab. Uh, Let me say this. I've reached out to him a number of times, and apparently he doesn't want to speak to me. I don't know why. So I don't want to. I don't understand. But no, that was not one of the people I was talking about. I don't understand why certain people have certain problems, but they do. Um, uh, Cringe. Cringe is a word that comes up. So let's see. If you could give us one piece of advice right now for our years of life, not to school, what would it be? I have two underlining mantras myself. Um, it's just, and it goes as follows. It's so simple. The first is be kind. Be a kind person. And everything that means. Be nice to people on the subway. Don't create a problem for your family. Love thyself. Love thy neighbor. All that kind of stuff. Just be a good person, a good citizen. All this kind of stuff. So be kind. And the second is work hard. And when you work hard, that also has other implications. And the two of those together are like defining tenets for the rest of your life. Everything falls underneath that. And if you find yourself in a problem or you're offending people, then you're probably not being kind and you're probably not working hard. And those two things, everything comes, that's the glue to me. So that's my general advice, if you will. Am I married? No, I was. What is the biggest thing you regret from your life that isn't personal, obviously? The biggest thing I regret in my life. Well, my regret is a non-regret. I wish there was more hours in the day. I love life. I love all the things that I do, and um, I just wish there was more time. That's that's kind of an indirect answer to it. But the things that I've done in my life, I made a mistake as a teenager. That's probably if I regretted anything. And I embarrassed my mother. That devastated me. And it taught me a life lesson never to do anything silly again or something like that. and you only live once. Why get in trouble as a teenager? It could impact the rest of your life. Um, just the ramifications of stuff where maybe family members will be bitter with you for the rest of your life, or maybe if something you do is so ridiculous you get arrested or something and even put in prison or something. That's not a life that's leading anywhere fruitful or productive or loving or these kind of things like that. So yeah. Well, we moved quite far from the SHSAT and the New York City DOE high school results, haven't we? Is there any training classes for SHSAT? I'm not quite sure what you mean. I do tutoring. What's your favorite song? Um, I don't have one. Uh, for most of my life, even though I like music, I never kind of desired a band or whatever. But as an adult, the more older I get, um, probably the Beatles is one of my favorites, but there's so many. Classic rock I like, but I've gone to so many different genres of music, especially with my wife. Um, so many things we did, so many different people we saw. Basically anybody for decades. I went to so many concerts, and as an adult, I started appreciating that kind of stuff. I guess I was too nerdy and just loved math and all this stuff when I was younger. Math was my song, if you will. But classic rock is probably kind of my genre, if you will. Beatles, Rolling Stones. Uh, I don't know who else. All the '50s groups, the '60s groups, the '70s groups. Yeah, a lot of heart. Like I said, be kind. If you can purposely be kind, like unconsciously be kind, say to yourself one day, I'm gonna not I'm gonna hold open a door for somebody. I'm going to do a chore that I wasn't asked to do. I'm going to compliment my mom or something or whatever. Those are things you have to consciously do. You know that there's a day like do an random a random act of kindness. Well, how about if you chose to do that every single day when you wake up? That's the way I approach things. I consciously think that. How can I, instead of being bitter and nasty and politically correct and arguing with people and trolling and all those stuff, how about you decide, let me do something positive for today? Every day, and make it part of who you are. Got into SIT with 5.6. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Very good. I remember you on my other streams. I remember a few of guys. Yeah, I got so caught up in this conversation. Um, I thought I was gonna be up to midnight. I think I'm not gonna go to sleep at all at this point. All right. Anybody in the chat, please like and subscribe. Slave from math and logarithms functions. Yeah, good old logs. Uh, okay. Yeah, that's rad. That's awesome. All right. I think I'm gonna end the stream myself because I do have 1,000 other things to do. Let me see here. Wait, I'm getting text from my kids now. Oh, they're congratulating me because all my students so far have gotten there. So, let me go back to my email. Let me see if I got some more emails from my students. Uh, yep. Let's see. What do we got here? All right, a 520 on check. Yeah, yeah. There you go. All right, I still have about 8 or 9 other kids. I don't know why they're not answering me. Um, I don't know. We'll see. Is there any score requirements this year for Stuyvesant High School? No, there never is. The cutoff scores are calculated organically based on how many seats are available in each specialized high school. So there's never a cutoff score requirement. Technically, if somebody only gets 3 questions right and they're the highest scorer, then they're the kids who get in. That's statistically not going to happen, but that's basically the way it works. Generally speaking, you want to be able to get 65% or above on the exam, just for even to have your foot in the door. And for practical purposes, you want to be hitting 90% to get into STI. That's really the numbers you're looking for of the exam, correct. You want 90s and stuff like that. By the way, chemistry was one of my worst subjects at Brooklyn Tech. I've never tutored chemistry. In fact, when my kids took chemistry, I was not able to tutor them with it. I was that bad in chemistry. I don't know why. I love all the other sciences, always did well on them, always did the math well, and chemistry just beat me up. All right, peace, easy. Yeah, Queenie, if you want tutoring or whatever, please email me at the bottom, GregsTutoringNYC@gmail.com, and I could help you through prep and studying and things like that. So, just to be clear, I'm a tutor. So, let me see what else I got going on here. Peace. Yeah, peace. I'm probably going to end the stream in a minute then. In past years when I did this kind of stream, you guys were talking amongst yourselves. So I can go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Let's see. What's the story here? This is running for 2 hours. Let me see. Or is it an hour and 18 minutes? Wait, I'm not sure. Let's see here. Yeah, it's about an hour and 20 minutes. Yeah, I think we're gonna peace out here, and let me get back to doing the SHSAT stuff and the Facebook and the emails and everything else going on. All right, love chatting with you guys too. Hope your journeys are successful ones. You sound like good kids. And that's, again, be kind and work hard. Absolutely. All right, y'all. Peace. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button. Remember, I help you. You help me to help you back. And the future kids who are going to be seeing this channel. All right, y'all. Peace. Have a good night.